Adi Oladipo in studio with us. Adi very shortly going out to cover for DAZN the huge fight that is Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk, and so many of you have got your own views and sending them in 81089 as to who's going to come out on top in that one. More recently with Simon and myself, Carl Robinson in studio, Adi was talking about the situation with Ryan Garcia, of course, failing a drugs test, and now his whole career is up in the air. Simon, what about that from James in Eastbourne? How can boxers bet themselves and footballers can't? We know Garcia betting himself, but footballers can't. It's not a bad shout, is it?
It's a good question, isn't it?
How's it allowed to happen?
Different set of rules.
Should it be allowed to? I mean, James even goes on to, if anything, it's worse. The two fighters could end up splitting the winnings, not tell anyone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, true. Yeah.
You never know. But we know this: Tyson Fury is going to take on Alexander Usyk on the 18th of this month in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And what chance do some of the great and the good in the boxing world give Tyson Fury against Usyk? Because here's a man who found life just a bit too tough that night. He went in against Usyk, and he is Tony Bellew, former WBC cruiserweight champion. Tony, good afternoon to you. How do we find you?
Good afternoon, boys, and thanks for reminding me of that horrific night I once had against him. But I'm doing all right. I'm on a golf course these days, shooting our new channel Lock and Tee, so that's what I'm doing these days.
Tony, I am hearing reliable information at this end tells me that you're extremely serious, as you were about boxing, but you've now become very serious about yourself as a golfer.
That's a strong word, golfer, Jim. I'm not going to lie. I'm a guy who turns up at a golf course and swings clubs at balls. I'm definitely not a golfer yet, but I will get there eventually.
Fury Usyk, and I did mention that night that you had against Usyk. Tony, briefly, as painful as the memory probably is still, indulge in me. How do you look back in it?
I look back on it that I gave it absolutely everything I had. When I get stopped in the 8th round, I'm ahead on 2 cards and I'm drawing on the 3rd official card of the Ukrainian judge. So it is what it is, Jim. He's an amazing fighter. He's the only fighter I ever boxed and felt I was out of my depth. He's the only one who could ever do it to me. I lost against Adonis Stevenson, yes, in my prime. Well, it wasn't in my prime, but making weight against Adonis Stevenson played a huge factor. Against Alexander Usyk, I was in great shape. I was in absolutely tremendous shape. I was former world champion myself. I just defeated the former unified cruiserweight champion, former heavyweight champion in David Hay. I was coming into it off the best performance of my career. And make no mistake, I 100% believed I was going to win. This was after I'd sparred with him in Ukraine, to be honest, after I was at the Klitschko Cup as an amateur. I just thought as a professional, I will cop him with 10-ounce gloves, and I thought I will be able to draw his lead, and I went in there and boxed him. I don't think there's a heavyweight in the world who has as good a boxing brain as I have and will be able to do to Usyk what I done to him, which was to make him miss, make him reach, and make him pay at times. Whereas with someone like Tyson Fury, he's now... And that is the worst thing in the world you can do, because the minute you try and pass this boy, you're gonna lose, and you're gonna drastically. You know, you look at the fighters he's fought and he's beaten. He's gone to every single champion's backyard and their patch and beat them up on their patch. The job that he done on Murat Gassiev in Russia was absolutely phenomenal. He did not take a shot, and that's what he's capable of doing when he gets in a ring. He adjusts and adapts with each style that he faces. And I think Tyson Fury may pose a few problems early on because of his size and because of his weight.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he will adapt and adjust, and he will take over the fight, and he will win on points unanimously.
Tony, you were slightly breaking up there. So if you, I know we're outside. No, it's fine. You're outside in a golf course. You're coming over. It's breaking up slightly. Stand still for a moment. We don't want to miss a trick here with what you're saying. So, by the sounds of what you're telling us here, are you big time taking Usyk to beat Fury?
I picked Usyk from day one. I think Tyson Fury stood the best chance of beating him when he was with his uncle Peter Fury, because that's when he was a unorthodox, big, awkward fighter who used his size and his attributes to his advantage and his awkwardness to his advantage. Now that he's this fighter who likes to press fighters and look for a knockout under the brilliant, Sugar Hill Stewart at the Kronk, he's a different fighter, Jim. He's someone who looks for the knockout. That's music to Alexander's ears. I know, because I've faced him. I've been in there with him. The boy's exceptional at what he does. Now, don't get me wrong, there's another side to that coin. Tyson Fury could get on top of him, he might be too heavy, but my opinion, and from my experience, I just believe Alexander Usyk's going to win wide on points. And I've said this from day one. We also have to put this into context. If Alexander Usyk and Fury were the same size, guys, this fight wouldn't even be up for debate, would it? Let's be honest. He wouldn't win a round. This fight's so close because Tyson Fury's 6'8", 6'9". And he's going in with a guy who's the same size dimensions as me, 6'3", and about 225, soaking wet. So that's why it's such a close fight.
Yeah, Tony, here's Addy. Here's Addy.
Tone, always great to hear from you, mate. I've always felt that the best Alexander Usyk, you mentioned it there, was against Gassiev and against yourself as well. How do you compare the Usyk at cruiserweight to this Usyk now at heavyweight? Different animal, Addy. Different animal. This is a guy who's not worrying. Well, do you know what? I was going to say not worrying about tiring. I've never ever seen this boy get tired in my whole life, and I've watched him amateur and pro. I've never seen him tired in a fight ever in my whole life. Never once get tired. So I'll take that out of the equation. I just think at cruiserweight, he looks to break you down systematically. He does look to try and get rid of you. At heavyweight, he doesn't look to get rid of anyone. He just looks to win. He just looks to score and move and win and stick to his game plan. And he keeps to what he does well. And what he does well is controlling the distance. You know, the one thing though, Tone, I think we both been guilty of this. We've always underestimated Fury when it comes to the big ones, whether it be Vladimir Klitschko or the first two Deontay Wilder fights. And I think Simon mentioned this earlier in the show that Fury always seems to step up when the challenge is bigger and greater in front of him. Always does. True. And although he didn't look good against Ngannou, we know that Fury against Usyk is going to be the best Tyson Fury.
Yeah, that wasn't Tyson Fury against Ngannou, and I'm not making excuses for him. But that wasn't the Tyson Fury we know. That wasn't the Tyson Fury that got in the ring with Deontay Wilder. But what I must also stress, Addy, is let's not forget, this is the best boxer Tyson Fury has ever faced. Tyson Fury has never faced a boxer as good as Alexander Usyk. Tyson Fury has never faced a good guy, a small guy, this good.
Couldn't you flip that coin and say the same thing about Usyk?
But he has faced big guys. He's faced Anthony Joshua, probably a bigger puncher than Tyson Fury. Somebody who's probably got quicker hands than Tyson Fury. Someone who's more damaging with the shots than Tyson. The only thing that Alexander Usyk hasn't faced, he's faced a huge guy in the likes. You know, he's come across Joe Joyce at over 5 3-minute rounds. So this isn't alien to him, guys. He came across big guys. Maybe not as big as Tyson Fury, but is Tyson Fury's biggest attribute his size? Or is it his awkwardness? Because he's faced someone who's so awkward. He's faced people who are similar in size. He just may not have faced all of them things combined to what Tyson Fury is. But Tyson Fury isn't this big monster puncher. Well, let's be straight. He's not a bigger puncher than AJ. That's not my opinion. That's a fact.
Yeah, he may not be, Tone. And obviously Tyson Fury dispatched of Dillian Whyte quite comprehensively, and Dillian Whyte gave Anthony Joshua a lot of trouble earlier in his career. And I'm trying to position, because I think Tyson Fury will win this fight, and I think he'll win this fight because of his size and also because of his technical ability. And I'm looking at Usyk and looking at the fights that he's had at heavyweight, and you use the Anthony Joshua as the reference point. But Anthony Joshua fought the only fight in the first fight that would enable him to lose, which was the fight that Usyk wanted him to fight. And in the second fight, he was psychologically disadvantaged because he'd lost the first fight. I think this is the best fighter, Fury, that Usyk has had to come up against in the heavyweight division. We saw Chisora lean all over him, giving him a handful of trouble in his early voyages. Why are you so compelled to believe that this is a no-brainer? Usyk wins this fight
because he boxes to the level of the opponent, as you've just said, Simon. As you say, look what he does to Murat Gassiev, the most dangerous fighter and puncher probably he's faced in the cruiserweight. The guy does not land a punch. He knows what's coming. He knows it's dangerous. He goes in against Anthony Joshua. He goes in against Chisora. Let's just look at the Chisora fight. And he allows Chisora to get close. Why does he allow Chisora to get close and doesn't allow Murat Gassiev to get close? And why do you think that is?
You tell me.
I'll tell you why, because he has no fear of Derek Chisora and what he's going to do to him.
Well, that's what I thought, but I was going to wait for you to say it.
He fears for the life out of him.
Shut up. You didn't have a clue what Tony was asking you there.
Yeah, no idea.
You've got him in knots here, Tony.
Listen, I don't think it's fair. I actually rate Simon. I think Simon does know the game. And I like Simon Jordan. And I know a lot of people have a pop at me for that, but I actually think he does know what he's talking about.
Oh, well, you're in a minority of one. No, Tony, of course he does. Of course he does. Of course he does.
This game is so exciting to us all.
Yeah, of course, mate.
Let's be honest. We're all entitled to an opinion, but ultimately, can anyone answer the question? Like I said before, if Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk are the same size, is this even close, guys?
Yep, but you know what? They're not the same size, though, Tony.
So it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, Fury's going to have 2.5 stone on him.
Of course, exactly. This is why it makes it interesting. This is why it's so close. If Alexander Usyk was the same size as Fury, guys, he wouldn't lose a round. Never mind a fight.
Did you take anything, Tone, from Dubois? I mean, everyone talks, and Frank Warren will talk, and Tyson Fury will talk about. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like getting punched to the body. He doesn't like it. Can't take it. Can't stand it. And there's a lot of controversy about the Dubois fight and what actually happened there. Do you think that provides an Achilles heel, metaphorically?
Well, what's the quote that we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about, he hit him and it was the mission? Well, guys, let's all just be brutally and blatant about this whole situation. He hit him on the protector. Why? No,
there's susceptibility to body punching, Tone. It moved away from the argument about whether it was a low blow or not, but the susceptibility, the suspicion that Usyk can't take it when you work the body.
The fact of the matter is, no one likes a body shot. I've had my ribs cracked and broken on numerous occasions. No one likes them, but we just get on with it. The fact is, the guy's been dropped once in his whole entire life with a body shot. That was off Artur Beterbiev in the amateurs. Since then, no one's put him on the floor with body shots. It's insane. It's like this guy's so good. We go down the road of he's so good, we've got to detract from him. It's like this myth. Trent Alexander-Arnold can't defend. People go on Trent Alexander-Arnold can't defend.
Well, it's not a myth. It's a fact.
Tony,
he can't. The boy can defend, but people have to, because he's so good going forward. You've got to detract.
It's like this myth that Everton are a big football club.
Huge football club, Simon. Much bigger than that one. Much bigger than that one you used to be chairman of.
Well said, Tony. Well said. Tony, we know you're standing on the 18th tee at the moment, and a par will give you a course record 62. So we're going to let you get on with your round of golf. Tony Bellew, thanks for joining us, mate.
Cheers, Don.
Soon on this golf channel. I'll see you soon, boys. Have a great weekend and enjoy the fight. Just before I go, can I just say this? The most important thing about this fight, and everyone needs to listen to this, is we get competent judges. That is the most important thing about the fight. We need judges who can do a proper job and score a fight. I believe it should be open scoring after 6 rounds. It should be, and they have to explain themselves on camera after it, because this is the biggest heavyweight spectacle since the great Lennox Lewis unified and solidified the heavyweight championships 20 plus years ago. We need correct officials at ringside.
Well said. Tony, fellow Scouser, Carl Robinson's in studio here. Just going to say hello just before you go.
I'm on the other side of the park. I've been red. Unfortunately for him.
He's a red, as you know, Tony.
Thank you.